You know what really skims my rim? The upcoming 2024 election. I don't mean to condone quoting Nickelback, but how the hell do we wind up like this? And I'm not even sure where to begin to clarify that statement. So I guess I'll start with this. How did we end up having 2 straight elections where we're going to be electing the oldest president in history? The minimum age to run for president is 35. Why are we going for people who are more than double that? And why are we going for the one whose entire existence has just become one big senior moment and the one who we've been watching slowly descend into a horrifying madness for a decade? Yeah, for the Trumpies who go after Biden for his age, your guy is just as senile and far more dangerous. And to Trumpy back off of that, why are the only requirements to run for president being born here and over the age of 35? That's literally the only requirements. If I want to become a substitute teacher, I need to be at least 18, pass a background check, have a high school diploma or equivalent, and in certain places, have a license to teach and a degree in teaching. Why are there more requirements to play Bill Nye the Science Guy for a bunch of 10-year-olds than there are to run the free world? We really need to increase the basic requirements here. If someone has been indicted 4 times and were on trial and convicted while they were running for president, and they previously instigated an attack on the U.S. Capitol, they probably shouldn't be allowed to run for president. Trumpy, spare me your conspiracy theories. He deserved his indictment and convictions, and I have no interest in reasoning with cult members. But I also think there should be a maximum age to run for president, and I don't know what that should be, but I do know that these 2 ramblin' raisins have passed it. Moving on to the next step of my crazy train of thought, this election might be the perfect example as to why a 2-party system is not very good for us. There's plenty of other political parties out there, but they have about as much chance of winning as I do of headlining the Apollo. Y'all got me over here ready to hear out Vermin Supreme. I really do wish we had more options who have a shot to choose from. But the reality is we're in a 2-party system where we typically have to go with the person we hate the least. That being said, I've seen more hatred for these 2 candidates than I've seen for the female Ghostbusters, who did not deserve it. This would be a great year to have a viable 3rd-party candidate. So why is that option an absolute idiot whose brain was literally eaten by a worm? Why is that the 3rd-party option? Why do we have to choose between 2 old men figuratively losing their minds and 1 old man who has literally lost his mind? Looks like I'm going with Cannibals Ate My Uncle over I'm in love with a fictional cannibal. But here's the thing about the election that really smacks my nads. How in the fiduciary does Trump not only have a chance, but is kind of winning? How? Did we all just forget that he... Well, there's a whole lot of awful that he did, so here's a text crawl. And not to mention he, instigated a violent attack on the Capitol that left officers dead. Why is everyone just forgetting about that? Why didn't it end there? Look, I don't want Joe Biden to be president, but how could anybody actually believe that pumpkin spice Mussolini here is a better option? You really think it's worth giving that whole dictator for a day thing a shot? Has he done anything to make you believe he's gonna stop after a day? And Biden's not even that liberal. He sent weapons to Israel, he increased funding for the police, and he's passing harsher restrictions on the Mexico border. None of these are things that liberals want. But the GOP's firmly attached to Trump's teeth, so to them, Biden's the Antichrist to their new Jesus Trump. And as I alluded to earlier, Trump just got convicted of 34 felony counts of business fraud. 1 more count and his convictions could run for president. Business was supposed to be the one thing he was supposedly an expert at. And at the end of his trial, he complained that the prosecution didn't call any witnesses that could prove his innocence. The prosecution! If there really were people who could have defended his innocence, the defense should have called them. And strong words from a guy who didn't even testify. If a guy is too afraid to testify because he thinks he'll get caught lying, you probably shouldn't be listening to him. A guy who doesn't know how the law works probably shouldn't be put in charge of it. But once again, he's cultivated a copious cult around him, and we're in a 2-party system. So yeah, looks like we're stuck with Leslie Nielsen's Scary Movie president versus decrepit Caligula. And while I'm not a fan of either of those choices, one of them is clearly better than the other. I'd rather have a humorous, relatively ineffective president than a convicted criminal who's putting his name on Bibles and scaring everyone into worshiping him. But once again, why did we have to have these 2 choices in the first place? But you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna let them win this one time. How the hell do we wind up like this? And to quote Carl Weezer, "Stop the world, I want to get off!" Have a nice day.